Hey songwriters, welcome back again to At Home Songwriting. This is where I help you write like a pro at home. My name is Chad Shank, and if you're new here, I am a songwriter. I am a songwriting teacher. I've worked in various parts of the music industry, and I just love sharing the craft of songwriting because I believe that no matter what your goals are, writing the best songs possible is key to making any other goal happen. So today I wanted to talk about doubt. So I recently asked a question here on my YouTube community poll, and the results were wildly eye-opening. It turns out that many of you are struggling with procrastination and that nagging little voice of doubt. And you know what? I totally get it because I've been there too, sometimes even now. And I've been there with a family-sized bag of chips in hand, scrolling Instagram, and big shout out to Netflix, you know what I mean? But today I want to tell you about a songwriter named Frankie. So Frankie, just like you and me, he loves songwriting, but he hit a wall. His story might just hit home, so let's dive in. Frankie had written a couple of songs, not a ton, just a few, but was he finishing them? That was a different story. So every time he'd sit down to write, that little voice in his head would pop up and say, what if this isn't good enough? What if I'm just wasting my time? Who do I think I am, Taylor Swift? You know that voice that comes in and makes you feel like crap as you're writing. I know it, I know you know it. And instead of writing, Frankie found himself doing everything else. He was reorganizing his studio for the 800th time, scrolling through songwriting forums and YouTube channels, and telling himself that if he'd start fresh tomorrow, everything would be great and tomorrow will be awesome. Does that sound familiar? Well, one day life got in the way and he put his guitar down, weeks turned into months, and then months turned into years, and Frankie started to feel like he was just done with songwriting. And that thought, it really made him sad. Sad about all of the time he'd spent, sad that he wasn't doing something that he loved much more, and sad that he wasn't doing it at all anymore. But then one day something changed. Frankie decided enough was enough, and with a few small steps, he pushed past that procrastination and self-doubt. A few months later, he was actually writing more songs, and he was finishing them, and most importantly, he was having fun with the process again. Very important. So how did Frankie do this? Well, we're going to dive into 6 essential tips that helped him, and these might just help you too. So why do we procrastinate? Well, first off, procrastination is not laziness. If binge watching cat videos were laziness, we'd all be guilty, right? So it's actually fear. Fear of failure, fear of not measuring up, or even fear of success and the pressure that comes with it. So our brains crave comfort, and pouring your heart and soul into a song, well, that becomes scary. So instead of writing, we start to slip into this productive distraction, like we clean stuff, we organize stuff, we analyze stuff. We get caught in this endless planning cycle. So then we also have this fun little thing called imposter syndrome. So imposter syndrome is this nasty voice that tells you you're not a real songwriter. You compare yourself to every other hit songwriter, you compare yourself to your idols, and then you convince yourself that you're just not good enough. But here's the truth. Every songwriter from the biggest names to the beginners feels this at some point. The trick isn't to never feel this doubt, but it's to keep writing anyway. So I'll say that again. The trick isn't to never feel that way. The trick is to keep writing through it. So now let's dive into these 6 tips that helped Frankie. So tip number 1 is start small and build momentum. Frankie stopped trying to write the perfect song every time he picked up his guitar. Instead, he set a goal of just 5 to 10 minutes every day. No pressure, no expectations, and you know what? Those 5 to 10 minutes often turned into an hour. So I'd like you to try this. Set a timer for 10 minutes and write anything that comes to mind. No editing, no judgment. Don't worry about it. Just start. When the 10 minutes is done, you're done. Just start small. I tell you, it works. And the next tip takes a little bit of practice, but I will tell you it's super important as well. And this is to reframe the doubt. So doubt used to paralyze Frankie, right? But he realized it was just fear in disguise. So he started asking himself, what if this doubt is actually excitement? in disguise. And suddenly, songwriting felt like an adventure. So instead of thinking this doubt is something to hold you back, use it as a launching pad to try to push you past this feeling into some ideas. And it goes really well with the first tip of just starting. And the third tip, this is fun. So this is where you get to challenge that imposter syndrome, right? So Frankie made a list of all his songwriting wins. No matter how tiny they were, how big they were, if he finished a chorus, put that in his win list. If he wrote a line that he loved and it rhymed, put it in the win list. It all counts. Write down your wins and celebrate them. Don't let your inner critic steal your progress. If you do it, celebrate it. And eventually your mind will love this feeling of getting a little bit done, and it will help you push past this doubt and push past that imposter syndrome. So let's celebrate, let's party. Even the littlest things. Got a title? Let's go. Tip number 4 is really important. And this is to create a no judgment or a judgment-free zone. So Frankie realized that his biggest enemy was that inner critic. So he gave himself permission to write messy first drafts and look at everything as a learning experience. Don't worry about perfection. Don't worry about it even being good. Just get it written and then get it right. And what helps me is to think of every song as a learning experience. I'm learning the process. I'm learning what works. I'm learning what doesn't work. I'm not as worried about the result. So for 1 week, try to write songs without editing and just let your ideas flow. So no editing for a week. You just write, let it come out, and then set it aside. You can always come back to it later, but you want to teach yourself that you don't have to edit early in the process. And now tip number 5 is finding your why. Frankie connected with why he really loved songwriting, whether it was self-expression, if it was sort of therapeutic for him, or if he was just making something cool. I know some of you are writing songs because you love it and you have to. Some of you are writing songs because you're an artist and you want to put out your own work. The why is very important, because you have to remind yourself why you're doing this in the first place. Because when that doubt creeps in, I want you to remind yourself of why you're doing this. So why do you write songs? Write it down, look at it every day, and hey, even put it in the comments. Have some accountability. Show us, show me why you write songs. I'd love to see it. And the 6th essential tip is to surround yourself with support. So Frankie joined some songwriting communities where he could share his ideas, get feedback, and realize that he wasn't alone. There's others out there just like him going through the same struggles. So what I'd like you to do is find a group, whether that's here online through my at-home songwriting, or maybe it's local. Maybe your local city has a songwriting chapter where you can connect with other songwriters. Connecting with others is a great way to build community, you build an audience, and you build friendships and support that can laugh through the hard times and help you laugh through the doubt. So speaking of communities, my at-home songwriting community at athomesongwritingcourses.com. There's a free community. It's 100% free. We do monthly live workshops, so you can join me and other songwriters live in a Zoom meeting every month. You can also post songs online for others to review. We do periodic song challenges. It's a lot of fun, and I hope you will sign up. So the link is in the description. As we're thinking about this, Frankie has this 6-step formula for getting back on track. So can you do the 6 steps? Remember, start small, just set a timer. Also reframe your doubts and challenge that lying imposter syndrome. Embrace the craft and embrace the messiness of the craft. Everything's just practice. And know your why, and also get other songwriters on your side. So remember, feeling doubt doesn't mean that you're not meant to be a songwriter. It means that you're human. And humans do incredible things even when they're scared. So if Frankie's story resonated with you, drop a comment below. Tell me how you deal with procrastination and doubt. And hey, if you need more support If you're looking for that community, if you're looking for helpful craft education, if you're looking for someone to listen to your songs, join the free online community at athomesongwritingcourses.com and find some people that are just like you in the same boat, dealing with the same pressures, dealing with the same doubts, and also dealing with the same fun and excitement that songwriting can bring. So now I want you to go grab your instrument, set that timer for 5 to 10 minutes, open the notebook, fire up the DAW, and let's start writing a song. I appreciate you for being here. There's some more videos on this channel that I think will help you dive deeper into the craft, and I'm glad that you found At Home Songwriting.